officials who are nativist or cater to nativist or anti-immigrant public opinion in their area can essentially use this to detain people who probably have not committed any crime and there's no real evidence against them, and the detention would be paid for by the federal government. So it's like a free lunch for nativist local government law enforcement officials.
What about the argument, Professor, which I'm sure has been posed to you, that in fact people you're talking about who are undocumented have broken the law?
So they have broken the law, possibly, but so many of them have nonetheless legitimate reasons to remain in the U.S., such as to pursue asylum cases and the like. Moreover, the fact that somebody has broken the law does not necessarily mean that there should be mandatory detention, even without any kind of conviction or trial. Doing that is a violation of due process, a huge wastage of law enforcement resources, and not something we normally do anytime somebody is accused of committing a minor crime. In this case, we're talking about even the most minor sorts of theft, like stealing a piece of candy, from a store, or just being accused of stealing it. And similarly, merely illegal border crossing by itself is also a relatively minor crime.
No doubt, Professor, you understand you're confronting, in the case of Lake and Riley, a case that shook up a lot of people, and the argument would be advanced that the person accused of killing her wouldn't have been able to do that had they been in jail.
My answer to that is that by that standard, you would have to have mandatory pretrial detention of everyone who is ever accused, even the most minor crime, because there's always a small chance that if they're not immediately detained, they might commit a more serious crime. It both would be hugely unjust to many thousands of people, and again, it would actually divert law enforcement resources away from pursuing genuinely dangerous criminals.
And tell us about the economic argument you make in Reason magazine, too.
The immigration detention is actually quite expensive. The federal government estimates about $165 per day for each adult prisoner detained. Secondly, if you detain people for even the most minor suspicion, or obviously while they're being detained, they're not contributing to the economy, and undocumented immigrants of many kinds do in fact make major contributions to our economy. And of course, you inflict economic costs on their families, many of whom are